So, Peter Baker, to pick up on this, and you mentioned the 50-vote threshold right now, Manchin, the most critical, it seems, of those 50 votes, although there are obviously other important Democrats for the White House to court. But Manchin specifically spoke to reporters on Capitol Hill and via the pool. He mentioned distrust in elections in the context of being concerned about this voting rights bill. He said we shouldn't want to do anything to create more distrust. And frankly, that sounded to me like a lot of the way that a lot of Republicans talk about what happened in 2020, the way what President Trump said filtered down to voters, the takeaways that their constituents had from all of that. It says to me that there are some people who are getting to Manchin here in his home state in a way that could really have significant impact for Democrats in this 50-50 majority. And Manchin, I mean, you know what kind of politician he is. He's someone who has a very careful I shouldn't say careful, but he has a very good feel, a very personal feel for his state and for where he needs to be to get reelected and to be doing things that keep him popular with his voters. I mean, what do you make of how he's threading this needle?
Well, I think that's exactly right. I think that, you see these polls that show that most Republicans, or a large number of Republicans at least, believe that something wrong happened in last year's election, largely because that's what they were told by President Trump, not because there's any proof of it, but just because the president told them something bad happened. And that means there are a lot of people in Joe Manchin's state, which is a particularly strong Trump state, who probably believe the same thing. Now, they have been told, and we can sit there and tell them on TV that there's no evidence of the kind of fraud that the president talked about last fall and early this year. But that hasn't changed a lot of minds. And I think that makes Senator Manchin a little wary of, crossing into territory that would seem to be overtly partisan. Remember, this is a bill, the voting rights bill, that is supported only by Democrats, not by Republicans. And as meritorious or not as it may be, if it's seen as strictly a Democrats-friendly bill, that puts you in a tough place in a state that is trending Republican. And so I think that Joe Manchin is, in fact, as you say, trying to navigate a tough state for a Democrat while, remaining in the party and not leaving. It reminds me of 2001, by the way, when Jim Jeffords was a Republican senator from Vermont. They had a 50-50 Senate. Remember what happened then? Well, yeah, and this is why it's so hard for President Biden. He's trying to avoid happening to him what happened to President Bush. When Jeffords thought that the Republicans are going too far in their agenda, left the party, and suddenly the Republicans no longer had control there. That's what President Biden wants to avoid this time around. So while he may be frustrated with Joe Manchin, he's also trying to be careful about alienating him too much.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.